Yo YouTube, what's going on? Today we're going to be reacting and taking an in-depth analytical look at the Silent Hill 2 gameplay trailer, which was released last night during the Silent Hill transmission. It was like a short stream, just kind of showing the state of the game, where they're at with the development and stuff like that. And I wanted to take a look at some detailed stuff. First of all, this scene looks beautiful. Like, this looks exactly how I would imagine. Well, in my opinion, this image is like my mental memory of what the intro of Silent Hill 2 looked like when I played it all those years ago. So yeah, I love how this scene looks. I think it looks amazing. Classic tile that defines psychological horror. We're seeing more of the engine and the graphics. I don't think the graphics are the best. I think there are some points where it looks really weak. So let's take a look at some of these posters if we can see anything here. You see we're at Big J's. There's the missing dog. Right. Doesn't look like anything. Faithfully remade in the original vision. I don't like the fact that they said this because, in my opinion, it just isn't. There are so many changes to it. To say that it's faithfully remade in the original vision just is not true, because you're changing the story, you're changing the layouts of the levels, you're changing the mechanics. You know, that's no longer the original vision. You know, the original vision was the original game, so this should just be a reinterpretation, in my opinion.
Our special place.
So we take a look at James here. I'm not too keen on how he looks. I don't think he looks exactly how I would have liked, but I do think he's definitely improved since we first saw him. So I'm hoping that he can improve furthermore, like before the game comes out. But yeah, lots of graphical fidelity, but there are some scenes where I feel the player models look very out of place. Like, they don't look like they should be in the scene. They just don't really fit. We get to see Maria here. I'm going to talk more about her outfit and stuff, but that has changed and her design has changed quite significantly. Not the biggest fan. But we get to see, this is a scene when you're in the hospital and she's waiting for you. She's resting on the bed because she's getting tired. This has a lot of story implications, but yeah, we get to see this scene, and fidelity wise this looks great. I mean, like, there's a lot of stuff like this where they'll show cutscenes, and like I said with the intro, it reminds me of how I remember those scenes looking. You know, like when you're all those years ago, when you play those things, it's like you fill in all this detail in your mind, and I remember it looking like this, even though it looked nothing like this, you know. Another shot of James.
Take me there again someday, but you never did.
So we get to hear the voice actor for Mary, and she's got like a crackly voice, like she sounds very unsure, and I like that. I think the best part of Silent Hill 2's voice acting was the uncanniness, where it just didn't sound natural.
The name on the envelope said Mary.
Get to see that fog, we get to see that level.
That damn disease 3 years ago. Is she really alive?
So we know that the story, the main story, is staying exactly the same. And from this scene, we know for a fact that this is third person. So, third person following camera. I don't really like this, but one thing I wish they could have done, if they wanted to have third person camera, is just move the camera back, because it's way too close to him. You can't actually like see anything around you without like turning. I feel like it would have been much better to have a much further zoomed out camera, you know? So this scene is a remake, like it's a complete redesign of when you get the radio. So in Silent Hill 2, when you get the radio, you find a patch of blood, you follow it down a road, you get to a tunnel, you go in the tunnel, there's the radio there and the first enemy. And we can see that this has been completely changed, like the location, the design of the area, it's all different, how it all works. So this ties into what I was saying about faithfully remade to the original vision. Like, this is a complete change to the original vision, you know. So James crawls in through here. I just, like, this just doesn't seem like something James would do. Like, first moment into Silent Hill, the first thing he's doing is trying to get to the lake house. That's like the first thing he wants to do. And what he does is he opens his map and he tries to get there. You know, that's like logical. and he quickly finds himself surrounded by enemies, and he's very overwhelmed, you know. And when you first encounter an enemy, it's entirely by accident, because it's like you're just following this patch of blood and you end up in a tunnel and you realize there's something in there, you know. And I guess that this is similar to that, but I don't think James would have just got on the floor and crawled through blood to get into a shed. Like, that just doesn't seem like him to start with. Like, maybe towards the end of the game, sure, but definitely not the first thing he does when he gets there. So we're seeing, instead of it being in a tunnel, we're in a house now. So I don't know, usually, well, there's East Side apartments in Silent Hill 2. I don't know if this is the same apartment block, if this is just a house, if this is a different apartment block. But we see that's the radio there on a sofa instead of in the tunnel. So now we'll be able to see the first encounter with the first enemy. So I noticed the enemies have these details on them, like mechanical details, and I understand that this may have been present in the original concept art, but I would like to say, like, the original game didn't really have anything like this, at least not on these sorts of enemies, like just the general enemies. They were more supposed to be like contorted humans. This kind of implies that there's like some sort of factory or manufacturing process to making them, and I don't know about that myself. This is a good example of what I was talking about, where the player models just seem to not fit in the background. Like, he looks in a completely different like color palette to everything else. Takes off the bat, so we're seeing we have the same weapon to start with, the bat, or the plank of wood, sorry. So this is something that's going to come up again, but instead of opening your inventory to check your health by looking at the picture, your whole screen is going to turn red now when you're low health. And I think this really takes away from a lot of the atmosphere, you know. One important thing for Silent Hill 2 originally was there is no HUD, you know, and it's very clear that there still isn't one. You know, there's no HUD like in terms of numbers or items, weapons, nothing like that. But no HUD full stop in Silent Hill 2 original. Not even a health bar, you know, and this is a health bar, you know. And I get it is probably for accessibility, like for new players, but, you know, it does really take away from that. So we see this again. This is also what showed up when he picked up the radio, but you have this like interact icon. It's like a circle. Now, I can't tell. I'm gonna play this again. I can't tell if James still looks in the direction of items. So we'll see him walk in here. So yeah, it looks like he does, which is really good. But in Silent Hill 2, that was the only way you would know if there was an item, was if James would look at it. If you walked in the room and there was a first aid kit on the floor, his eyes would track to it and you would notice his head turn to like constantly look at whatever that thing was. I hope there's an option to turn this off, because I really, really think it just takes you out. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, so seeing this takes this down. So yeah, now he's low health. You can see, you know, he's limping. We still have this red border. I really don't like that. So this is something entirely new, right? Like breakable containers. So you see he broke the back of this car to get this first aid kit, or this health drink or whatever. Now, this was not a thing in the original. There was no like breaking things to get stuff. Like, yeah, and again we have HUD in our Silent Hill game, which just should not be there. Like, there should not be numbers and text on the screen. It should just be the game, you know.
Where are you, Mary?
So now, if I remember correctly, this is gonna tell him where Barneely's is, right? Again, text on screen. I fucking hate it so much. But I do like this detail, because in Silent Hill 2, you pick up an item that would point something on your map. Your map would open, you'd hear a scribble sound, and it would draw some information on. So we can actually see James doing that in real time, which I think is cool. I do like that. So I'm pretty sure, I can't remember, but this text was originally on a wall. It wasn't actually on a note. I might be wrong.
What you got there?
None of your business.
So we get to see Angela.
You didn't love Mary anyway.
What? Hey, wait!
Now, I have to say, like, I don't know whether they're trying to stay, like, uncanny with the voice acting, or whether they're, like, sorry, not Angela. Trying to stay uncanny with the voice acting, or whether they're, like, doing it by accident. The voice acting just sounds weird, man. Okay, we can see Maria now, and I'm not a fan of this, like, for a lot of reasons. Now, I'm really not a fan of this, and I don't want to sound like I'm overreacting, but I just kind of want to briefly talk about the design of Maria. Now, for those of you that, like, haven't really, like, put much research into the original in terms of, like, this character specifically, this is what she looked like in Silent Hill 2, like the original. So you see this super over the top, like, exaggerated outfit, very, like, badly applied over the top bright makeup, bold colors, bold patterns, tattoos, you know, showing her navel and her, like, upper thighs and stuff like that. Like, it's supposed to be, this character is supposed to be James's male gaze interpretation of what an attractive female looks like. It's not supposed to be like a real person, you know. And this is based off of an outfit that Christina Aguilera wore to the Teen Choice Awards, right? So in the universe, or in the canon of this game, like, the way I've interpreted it is James got bored of how his partner looked, how his wife looked, how Mary looked, you know, and fantasized about these caricatures, these, like, exaggerated women that he'd seen on TV or in magazines or in newspapers and stuff like that, and develop, like, a sort of hatred for his wife, like a desire that she was more sexually appealing, you know. And as a result, his interpretation of Maria is one that looks like this, is like, this is not how an actual woman would have dressed. Do you know what I mean? It's supposed to be like what a man thinks is attractive on a woman, you know? And when you take a look at how she looks in the remake, it just looks like they've really tried to tone it down for the sake of it being like, well, you know, this isn't like an actual nice outfit that a woman would pick. Like, let's pick one that an actual woman would want to wear. And that's not what this character's meant to be. You know, like, you see they've completely changed, like, this. She's no longer showing her stomach at all. She's wearing, like, a dress underneath. It's no longer bright. You know, she's not wearing this top. It's just different, you know, and it loses that original intention so heavily, in my opinion. And one other thing is, if you look at the face, I noticed, like, her face model or whatever looks so similar to Ashley from RE4 Remake. Like, so similar, when the original, she really looks like, you know, like a late 30s, like early, maybe even early 40s woman, like, trying to dress much younger than she actually is. She's supposed to look out of place. She's supposed to look strange. She's not meant to look like just like a nice outfit on a nice person. Do you know what I mean? Like, this to me made me feel like maybe the people making this remake don't understand what this character represents. And that is extremely worrying, to me at least. So let's continue.
I don't know. Let's look around.
So we see he gets the map, and we see this is how maps are going to work, instead of it being like, again, text on the screen. I just don't get it.
This place feels so
layout has changed
empty.
significantly.
More than the other places we've been.
One other thing I've noticed is Maria is constantly talking when you're not interacting with her. Like, you'll be walking in and out of rooms and she's talking in this. So I actually really like that. Like, the devs obviously want you to look at this picture, so they have Maria look at it. That is a very nice detail. So you see, like, the layout has changed a lot for this. It's also much, like, this seems much more chill. You know what I mean? Like, when I walked in the hospital in Silent Hill 2, I was fucking terrified from the moment I walked in, because it felt so isolated and scary, you know? It didn't feel like a daytime sort of, like, activity. There was, like, no light getting in, you know?
There.
Laura, wait!
So
It's okay. We don't want to hurt you.
that is something I feel like not a lot of people have noticed, but when you interact with Laura here, in the original, when you interact with anyone, Maria will never ever be present because she's not actually real. Like, I'm sorry to spoil it, but she's not actually a real person. So when you interact with people, she won't be there. And there's parts where it's like you go into the bowling alley and she waits outside and doesn't come in because she won't interact with people because she's not a real person. She only exists to you. But you hear her even say here, she literally
Laura,
talks to her.
wait!
It's okay. We don't want to hurt you.
Yeah, she says, it's okay, we don't want to hurt you. And it's like,
God damn
you know, she shouldn't even see her. She shouldn't even be there.
Now.
Right, so now we're into floor 2 of the hospital, and we're going to see some combat. Get to see the nurses. They do look really good. I do actually really like how they look. But we noticed, first of all, this is like a stealth mechanic. They're not noticing you, and you can just walk past. I like that. I like that the combat is optional. I think that's a good change. Okay, so crosshair, ammo on the screen. Like, man, I just really don't like this. Like, there was like, I don't think people understand, like, or the developers understand, when there was no HUD in Silent Hill 2, it wasn't because they didn't know how to make a HUD. You know, it's Konami. They made Metal Gear Solid. Like, they know how to make a very good HUD. They just chose not to put one in because they felt like it wouldn't add to the experience. It would only take away from it, you know? And there's a lot of stuff like this where it's like taking away the original intention. So fully limping, red screen, nice text on the screen and numbers. So this is also like something that is not great. We see this interact button on this door here, right, to say that you can go in that door. Now, the thing I don't like is there is not one on this door, which to me implies the doors you can actually interact with will be pointed out to you. Like, you can open this one is just decoration. I think that is like so far off the original like vision for this game, where like so much of it is just trial and error, like interacting with doors, you know, and figuring out which one you can open, which one's locked. So we see he's getting the hook here. This is for the puzzle where you combine the hook with the string or the hair and you get the key out the drain. So he gets the shotgun here. Again, we can see which we can interact with and which we can't. I'm just hoping there's an option to just turn it all off, all the interact prompts. So one thing we didn't actually see in the trailer at all is the other world, like the other side. We don't see any of it. So I really want to know what that looks like in this game. Right, so then this is the drain that you would interact with the bent needle and the string. But again, change to the layout and to this puzzle. This originally was in a bathroom, like in a shower. It wasn't just like a drain on the floor. Right, so I think this is supposed to be the other side. If it is, it's not like dilapidated enough, in my opinion. Like, if you remember what the other side or the other world looks like, it's so corrupted and horrible looking. You know, this just looks like they need to do some replastering and that's it, you know. So this is the padded room, which I think has the box puzzle. Let's get this classic cutscene where she traps James in the room.
Why do you keep running away from me? And how do you know about Mary?
Mary's my friend. We met at the hospital last year.
Stop lying. Laura, I'm sorry, I didn't mean.
Fine, don't believe me. See my
So,
hair.
I don't know about the voice acting, man.
Go.
I'm sorry, Laura, but I can't let you just run around this place. You might get hurt.
Hurt by what?
Look, just stay with me, okay? This is no place for a kid.
Fine. But there's something I gotta get.
Laura,
It's important.
what is it?
A letter. For Mary.
What?
I hid it. In there.
So this is like one of the most classic and memorable cutscenes, you know, and this leads into one of the most memorable fights in the game
You
as
sure
well.
this is where you left it?
It's in the back. Behind an old
So
pipe.
this all does look good. Like the
Okay,
cutscene
wait here.
recreation, I do like. A lot of them keep the original sort of feeling alive. The movements, I do like that.
Open the door, Laura.
Why should I? I'm a liar, right? Want me to open it? Huh? Do ya?
Let me out of here, you little brat.
In your dreams, fart face.
Please open the door. There's something in here.
Sure there is. A big lying fart face. See ya, fart face!
Laura! Laura!
So it drops from the ceiling, and then this is where you get this classic fight. So that's the trailer or the gameplay of what they showed us. I feel very conflicted. There's a lot of stuff I like, a lot of stuff I really, really don't like. And the problem with it for me is a lot of the stuff I don't like, I know is not going to get changed. Like, they're just going to stay like that. But let me know what you think. I'm a really long-term Silent Hill fan, so I hope that explains why I feel so passionate about this. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.